Hello, everybody. Darren Cross here. Welcome to MBA 641. This is e-commerce, and we're talking about Module 2. In Module 2, what you're going to be going over is Chapter 4 and 5. Okay, so in Chapter 4, we're talking about global e-markets. So as we go through all of these things that we're talking about with marketing, remember we are first understanding what marketing really means, and technology influences the main little pieces of marketing as we try to do what we're supposed to do in order to make marketing successful. And what we're really saying is that it ends up having an influence on the 4 Ps or our marketing mix throughout the way, or it just influences the idea that we might have. But in some way, it always kind of weaves its way into the 4 Ps. And so in order to understand that a little bit, we have to understand that, first of all, we are globalizing. And so products that someone that a company might make in one area don't just pertain to that area. It might actually, there might be a market in another part of the country that you have to take into consideration. Now, let's not even talk about the product right now. Let's talk about the other elements of the marketing mix. And we're going to talk about that more in detail as we go along. But, the other side of this is it may not just be only about the product and where people are. It may be about, the other P's that we're mixing into this whole marketing picture, right? So, as we know, the 4 P's are product, place, promotion, and price. And so, is there influence from other parts of the world on that marketing mix? And so in order to understand that, we need to know what's really going on with global e-markets and all of those elements that kind of relate to it. What kind of technological capabilities are there? What kind of barriers to the internet and technology will influence the way that we have to do some things? If we have a marketing campaign in this world, what is demanded in this world with respect to speed, information, and capability? So those are things that we have to understand, and Chapter 4 will help us gain a better understanding of that. Then we move to Chapter 5, which is about e-marketing research, and this is more about gaining information that's going to be helpful. Now, as you move to the next part of your paper, you're starting to look at the environments. You have to understand what's really going on so that you can formulate a picture. And now that we're putting a twist on it with all of this e-business strategy or e-marketing strategy stuff, we need to be concerned about making sure that we're well informed. And so what happens is that people actually try to they pursue activities that help us gain knowledge. And you know from all of your classes that it starts with data. So people do research and we have data, and data turns into information. And then information eventually becomes knowledge that is embedded in every little piece of what we do. And knowledge is in the DNA of your administrative heritage of all the processes that you have. And so we have to have good knowledge. And so if that is really the base of being successful, now take into consideration that we're adding this entirely new element of an evolving technological capability, and with that, technological requirements. So you put all of this twist on marketing with an e-business or an e-marketing concept, and we have to learn, and it has become apparent that we have to learn in new ways. First of all, we have to learn a lot more quickly than we used to, and we have to, because we have to respond a lot more quickly than we ever have had to respond before. When I was in my first crack at an adult life, when I was going to college, I was a freshman in college, and I was actually working at Radio Shack, and I can remember being excited because this was in 1989, and so I can remember being excited that I was actually selling cell phones to people. And back then, a cell phone was a $900 brick, but it allowed people to communicate. But when people had cell phones then, it was purely so that they can communicate to someone else who actually had a regular phone. It wasn't, we were not nearly as connected as we are now. And so, we'd sell that cell phone. We sold that cell phone for a couple of years, that very same version of a cell phone. And then it eventually became it started happening more quickly and more quickly, where it's like, okay, these things are getting smaller, smaller, and smaller, and now they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And companies are having a new version of their own cell phone come out every year. And everybody wants the newfangled thing, and there's new capability because we are demanding things more quickly than we used to. And so we have to be on the cusp of technological advance, and the only way to do that is to always be researching. And so Chapter 5 kind of talks about all of those elements that relate to what we have to do in order to keep ourselves on top of the game with respect to the new marketing plan or that 2.0 type of philosophy. So both of those things are going to inform you. You might need to dip into a couple of the other chapters as you do your assignment for this module, but I think chapters 4 and 5 will give you a good start. But as always, if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. Thank you.